Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another full movie breakdown. Today, we're talking about Final Destination 2. And joining me once more to provide lots of insight is writer Owen Quinn.
Hello, everyone. Very sunny Belfast here today. Everybody's out, no shirt on
Yeah,
for some strange reason.
it's lovely here
It's
too.
not that it's warm, but it's not that warm.
Yeah, yeah,
But as I said in the podcast, the minute an Irish man sees the sun, or the Irish woman sees the sun, they're all out.
yeah.
The cooking oil on and the t-shirts on. They go, oh, it's freezing.
I'm in my little room with the curtains drawn because I can't see my screen if I don't. So I'm in this.
Oh, I'm all right because I have the attic with both skylights open because it's so hot up here. My attic always gets really warm,
Yeah,
or if it's winter, it's really cold. So
yeah,
it goes between one or the other.
yeah. I'm in my little dark room doing this when the sun's blazing outside, but fuck it.
You sound like kind of a actor. Locked in your wee dark room.
That's basically it. Because my laptop is facing the window, so I cannot see a fucking thing if I don't close the blinds.
I I'm the same.
So, Final Destination 2 follows pretty much the same formula as the first one and the same formula as the sequels will use, where there is a premonition of a big disaster, and the person who has the premonition prevents several people from dying, and then death goes about having a laugh, killing them off one by one in over elaborate ways. And if you thought Miss Luton's death was convoluted, you haven't seen anything yet.
No.
So that's basically the sum up of the plot. There's not much more to say. I mean, it's basically the same as the first one.
Yeah.
Except the disaster in this one, I think, is much more entertaining and interesting for a few different reasons. Um, Owen, do you prefer the opening of this one in terms of the disaster over the first one?
Yes, because a plane blowing off's much quicker. I think there's nothing. I see. Well, remember the last time we were talking about uh, connecting with the person watching. So no like every since this movie and that logging accident, every time that myself or the wife are driving up a motorway and there's a big lorry comes up beside us, I just say to her, put the boot down, get it in front of the bloody thing.
Yeah,
And that has come from this one. I know that's got the logs and everything, but every time I see a big high backed lorry, I can just picture the it blown over by some freak of nature and then us being pancaked underneath it. So I have a real fear of these lorries coming up beside us. The only one I didn't have a fear with, well, we did, was the Royal Mail. And on the side of it was Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker. You know, the stamps that were released.
yeah.
So I says, she says, "Oh, look at the Star Wars." And I says, slow down, so I get a picture. As soon as I get the picture, I was like, put the boot down, get us past it.
Oh
So
God.
yes, the open of this is much scarier for me. And I think most people in a car, when you see so many of the real road crash videos that are about and how easily something like that could happen and how devastating something like that could
Yeah,
actually be, as
yeah,
opposed to like it's no fun getting blew up in a plane, but I think this one it is much scarier because say the logs were coming towards you and you can see it coming,
yeah,
whereas in an explosion you don't really have time to react.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just yeah,
so it
one minute you're
was.
here, one minute you're not.
Yeah, yeah. I like the guy that was burned alive in the car.
Yeah,
Evan, I think that was. I was like, and that's the real basis of horror as well. It's what could actually happen, and it's that thing. As long as it happens to somebody else, I'm okay for the minute. But
yeah,
it could so easily flip, as we know in real life. But yeah, I prefer this opening to the first one.
yeah. One reason I like this one as well is that you can see the order in which people die, which I like.
Mm, yeah.
Uh,
Whereas more mystery in the first one because we didn't know. you didn't know the sequence, or Alex didn't figure out the sequence till later.
Yeah,
So it was really a free for all. It was like, who's gonna go first?
yeah. Which
But
can be
then,
go on.
yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, that can be effective in its own way when you get these
yeah.
quick shock deaths. You don't know which one's going to be next. But I did like the fact that we seen the sequence of the deaths.
Not that it mattered,
Yes,
as we will soon
we
find
will
out.
get to that. Yes, I was just going to touch on that.
Yeah,
Um, and just like the first movie, the opening has a lot of foreshadowing in this one as well. So,
yeah.
like when she's driving the car and she turns on the radio, we get "Highway to Hell"
How
plays.
the hell? Yeah, I'd
Um,
have been hitchhiking them on the way back. No, yeah, a lot of foreshadowing. Yeah,
and there's another bit where she looks out the window and she sees a kid banging toy vehicles together and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
And then you had that woman at the window with her bag of tins.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, where'd she come from in the middle of a freaking motorway?
There's a few things in the opening or the opening incident where you know something bad's going to happen, but you don't know exactly what's going to cause it. So there's a few things that
Mm,
happen where is it that? Is it that? Like there's
mm.
a truck driver drinking as he drives, and a police officer spills coffee, that kind of thing. And I like that kind of anticipation. Oh, is that going to be it? Is that going to be it? Is that going to be it?
Yeah, you're sidestepping the audience expectations. Yeah, which is, you know what's coming, but what is it going to be?
Yeah. Um. So before the opening accident happens, there's a man on TV. He's on a talk show and he's basically explaining for the audience what the situation is. Um, he kind of he explains that Death has a plan and talks a little bit about the first movie and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
he's catching the audience up to what's happening.
Hmm.
Um, and he's telling the audience like the only way to survive is to be vigilant. But then he also says that death is inevitable. So I'm like, like which is it?
What's what's the point?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So
Yeah, when we've had just seen a whole movie or about to watch a whole movie where a lot of people are watching out and being vigilant. Not that it does them any good. So it's like somebody get him off the TV because he's talking crap.
yeah, it's like be vigilant, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the opening dialogue, that whole sequence, is a little incoherent for me. I think it could have done with
Yeah.
another draft.
With the sequel, you're always trying to improve and expand on the mythos of the original.
Yeah,
And I think it tries too hard in the opening to sort of reinforce. Less
yeah,
like last time on this episode of Next Generation, this happened, everybody died. But and it's just sort of hammered home rather than letting as we know later on, they talk about the original film
yeah.
and we find something out. Whereas I think that they should have dropped that at the start, had the Highway to Hell song on, great. Um, but I would have left all that out because you don't need it twice in the movie.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it was one of my notes is that we get a lot of information more than once, and
Yeah,
they're really paranoid about the audience not understanding what's going on,
yeah. It's
which is
like it's
weird.
okay. We are talented people.
Yeah, which is weird because there's no point in understanding any of it because it's. We'll get into that as we go.
Yeah, it's like,
Um. So yeah, the pile up happens, and one thing I like as well is that the first movie had a premonition um, of an incident that's very quick, the plane explosion. And I think it
mm,
was a very smart idea to have the opening incident elongated and a bit more entertaining and dramatic. And one of the reasons for that as well is that these movies don't really have much going for them beyond the opening accident and then the kills that, people are just there to see. So kind of
yeah,
stretching it out, I think, was a good idea. Um, and because there is a lot of padding in this movie. Like if you take out a lot of unimportant stuff, it would barely make it over an hour. I would say.
yeah. I have to agree. I have to confess as well, audience, that although I was familiar with the film but couldn't remember it, So I had to watch it again on Netflix, but I had to watch it in fast forward. So it's like speed 1.5. So even the accident was like really quick for me, but it got me where I wanted to be. And then, as I was saying to Stephen before we come on, I couldn't remember what I just watched. So either I've still got COVID fog, or I'm losing the plot, or it just wasn't memorable enough for me.
No, I think you're fine because I rewatched it again this morning and I realized that like I don't remember half of this. What's going on?
Yeah,
um, yeah. So the after the opening incident, are brought into the police station all the survivors to be questioned by the police officer, and this is the bit where we get a lot of repeat information. The character Eugene, I believe his name is. I think he was the biker, and he kind of explains again. So the first time seemed to be for us, the audience, and this time seems to be so the characters understand what's happening.
yeah,
Um, and I think it's that scene where we find out that Clear Rivers is still alive.
yeah. It's like a year later. I think it's the anniversary. Somebody said of the plane exploding.
Yeah,
So she's now having all these visions, and oh, it's repeating. So it's like the cotton on very quick to the fact and link themselves to, oh, we must be connected to what happened a year ago because I'm at the exact same things happening to me. So
yeah,
let's all go and find Clear Rivers.
yeah. Oh, another thing just about the opening thing is that just like the first movie, the accident itself doesn't line up with the premonition. It's it doesn't happen as far down the highway as it did in the premonition.
Mm.
Just a little thing I noticed. It doesn't make that much of a difference to the overall story, but um, it's just the same as the first one, where the premonitions just don't quite line up.
But are they supposed to though? Because technically it's just like a kind of dream. Dreams are never exact, but close enough.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to give it the benefit of the doubt and just
Yeah.
say that yeah, it's maybe um, more abstract, not quite you know exactly what's going to happen.
Or here's a theory for you. What if it's death implanting the premonition into their heads in the first place and twist it a wee bit so they don't get that they're expecting something else, if you
I'll
know what I mean?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't a fucking clue what Death's up to because he's if Death is
Uh,
an actual character, he's very confusing.
He's having a ball, is what our death's doing.
Yeah. There was a theory I read. I think someone was talking about how there's a novelization of or a continuation in a novel, and it kind of digs into the fact that Death is doing this to amuse himself because he wants to have fun with it and all that kind of stuff. But I just don't know. I don't think the writers thought about it too much.
No, this is a big problem for me because anybody that decides to explain evil has no idea what they're talking about. Because it's like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, where let's explain why Michael is the way he is. No, stop, stop, stop. Freddy Krueger, let's explore why Freddy is the way he is. No, evil is evil. If
Mm,
you can explain evil, it can be treated. It's a condition, but some things are just evil.
yeah,
For a character like Michael Myers to work, excluding some of the sequels where it was supernatural stuff was brought in, um, it's just he just is the way he is. Some people are born evil.
yeah,
So when you go into this notion of, and to be honest, I sort of blamed Rob Zombie a lot for this until I actually saw an interview with him, and he said a lot of that was actually studio interference, was or just like the abusive alcoholic stepfather and stuff. And
mm,
you just think that actually just shows how stupid network executives are, but the guys ahead in these studios, because what you're basically saying there's every child in that situation will grow up to be a Michael Myers. That's nonsense.
mm,
Um, and
100%.
it just, yeah, the whole thing's fucking nonsense. Evil doesn't need explained, and that's it. Just leave it because that's also adds to the fear and the terror of it because you. you have a moral right and wrong center. It doesn't. So what it does is natural to it. It's unnatural to us, but it's complete, and it doesn't. It will not care whether you're a man, woman, or child.
Yeah.
So explaining evil and all this nonsense, forget that. You just sometimes it's just scare the life out of you, and in life you don't always get answers,
Yeah.
and in these movies sometimes no answers are good too.
Yeah.
So I don't like these novelizations and stuff and trying to explain everything. They
I
don't
ne-
work.
yeah.
They're an insult to the character, really.
Yeah, and I never liked it when people try to give the Joker an origin.
Yeah,
I prefer just not having a clue.
yeah,
And as you say, just some people are born evil.
yeah. And some forces are naturally. Nature is so many different forces of nature. That doesn't make right sound right as a sentence, but you have good parts of nature, you have bad parts of nature. You have like the superstorms, tornadoes, stuff, which would be bad, but they're just natural to them.
Yeah.
If you're a tornado, a sentient tornado, going, well, I'm just doing my wee thing.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning around, spinning everything up. What do you want me to do? But it's yeah, I prefer, especially for, as we said last time, for Final Destination, it works much better when this is just this is death,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, what is death up to, rather than an actual physical character.
Yeah. Yeah, and as they say, some people just want to watch the world burn, or
Mm.
in Death's case, burn, slip on their own blood, fall on
Worlds.
knives, explode in the
Uh,
house, get
no,
lit,
you're all right.
get lit
Cut
up.
your face into a computer, smoke it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Once it's repeated in this one, I can't wait to go for that death.
So, which of the deaths is your favorite in this one? I have one that I'm
Um,
going to go through in detail. Uh, I,
I'm gonna I'm gonna say the Evans one,
is that the first
the
one?
first, yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
lottery
yeah.
winner, because uh, he just did. You want me to talk about it? Do you?
I'm going to go into it now, but you
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah,
first.
yeah. Where he's won the lottery. He escaped. He won the lottery the day before. He escaped the pilot, and he's the luckiest man on earth. Goes to his apartment, gets shirtless, goes to cook a meal, and everything just goes tits up for the poor kid. Um, he's bought this expensive ring, expensive watch, and it bounces down the sink. Now in America, that these plug hole things
Yeah,
which chop up food, so there's a blade inside there. So the first thing he does is put his hand down, and you're waiting as an audience for his hand to be cut off.
yeah.
Um, and then it doesn't because the frying pan catches fire. He's stuck in the hole. He's trying to hit it with a cloth, a tea towel, knocks it down, sets fire to everything else. And I just thought, here we go, here we go. I just, and like, again, the microwave is smoking. And the
Yeah.
first thing he does is go over and put his face in it. And
Yes.
I'm looking, did you not watch the first movie, Mrs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back off. And he gets out of the thing, climbs down the fire escape. Whoa, that was close.
Yeah.
Does the bouncy ladder thing. He falls. It almost hits him, and you go, "Oh, that was lucky!" And then bang, straight through the eye. His was so convoluted,
Yes.
just like Mrs. Luton from
Yeah.
the first movie. All I could do was laugh. It wasn't even
Do you know what?
scary.
Yeah, if you played that scene with comedy music, it would be brilliant.
Yeah, because everything it was Murphy's Law. Everything could go wrong as go wrong because it's all these women ringing him. Oh, hi, Evan. I hear you won the lottery and we met a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did. I just thought it was funny. I'm sorry, Per Evan, you're dead. God bless you. Go on in your life. Did
Rest
you
in.
know? Do you want a bit of trivia about Evan, the actor that played him?
I would love some trivia.
His name is David Petcow. He was in Predator versus Aliens Requiem,
Ah.
which me and my friend have a constant arguments about. I think it's one of the best alien movies ever because it's the most realistic alien movie. If aliens came to Earth, that alien, this is what's going to happen. There's only one way to finish it,
I
which
have not.
but
Go on, sorry.
you haven't watched that. You haven't watched that.
No, I haven't seen it since the cinema.
All right.
I
So
pro-
so the Tangus blew up at the end. The napalm the town. There's only three survivors. But do you remember the scene with the maternity ward? The aliens
Vaguely.
come in and yeah, when you look back at it, that's exactly what would happen, and it's the most terrifying of them all.
Do you
But
th- do you think it's well written?
uh, I'm just a big sucker for Alien and
Yeah.
Predator anyway.
That
So,
that would be
but
an interesting one to do, just to see
uh,
if what you think of the actual writing when you rewatch it
uh,
and dig into it.
it's the
Um,
characters are very cliched.
yeah.
There's real drama thing, but I mean, I don't like Covenant or anything like that. But anyway, it's his Final Destination, and he's been in everything: Supernatural, Stargate,
Wow.
uh, loads of Man of Steel he was in
I
as
did
well.
I didn't recognize him at all.
No, no, do I? He must have had his haircut or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in loads and loads. And when you sort of, it's like at Smallville, he's in Smallville.
Yeah.
First Wave, which is another forgotten
Yeah.
good series.
And
But Evan's death was as entertaining as Miss Linton's. It's what can possibly go wrong will go wrong, but it was quite funny
and
for
before
me.
any of that happens, he had thrown out like leftover food or something, which
Yeah,
ends up being his demise in the end.
it's just
Because when he
nuts.
jumps down, he escapes the burning apartment, and then he slips on the food he threw out
I slipped
earlier.
sniff out. That's right. That's what he slipped on the bottom.
He
Then
slips,
ladder goes right through his eye.
yeah, he slips on the food, lands on broken glass, and then the ladder comes down into his eye. Like there's just so much going on. Um, and if you notice in the when he's making his food before it all starts going wrong, one of the fridge magnets falls, and then the
Mm.
magnets end up spelling "I." So the film is telling you, giving you a little hint as to what's to come.
It's like a work safety video. Do you ever get time? Now, you see, if you have a plug hole, there's a big blade in it, do not put your hand down it.
No, definitely
Make
do
sure it's
not.
switched off at the wall.
You
If
couldn't.
you're putting a frying pan on, always attend to it in case it goes to fire. And when you go down a fire escape ladder, just don't. And don't throw food out a window. Use the bin, use the wee green bags, and you look sort of look at it that way. I think the longer Final Destination movies go on, you have that sort of mentality and you're waiting to see what's going to happen next. Especially going, well, I wouldn't do it in my house. It's like Mrs. Linton with a crap mug. Never
Yeah,
drink out of a chip mug, folks.
there you go.
That's it. So it's a bit of fun as well. So you can't really take it too seriously.
No, you can't take these seriously at all. I mean, once you've seen the first two, you kind of know what you're in for the rest of them.
Yeah, yeah. At least the second one tries to do something different and literally expand on what we've seen before to make it some sort of a bigger story.
Yeah.
But the rest of them don't actually do that.
I think with this one, they did try to do stuff like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
this one ends up doing more harm to the first film than good.
yeah. I
Because
thought it ended up more
yeah,
confusing.
so one of the police officer who helps you one out at the start, just before the pileup happens,
Mr. Thomas Burke.
Mr. Thomas Burke, thank you, Owen. He's researching the deaths of the kids in the first movie, um, to yeah, so he's looking them up on the computer, seeing how they died and all that kind of stuff. Because, he was told the same thing is happening again. Um, I thought it was funny though that Billy's cause of death just says decapitated by a train,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that creates a very confusing visual.
Mm.
Like, I just don't get, just like what exactly happened. Um, and then we find out that because you brought up in the first one, and I never thought of this, that it never shows Alex dying
Yeah.
because Clear Rivers is the only survivor. But in one of the articles, it says that he was killed by a fallen brick.
Oh, was I? Because
Yeah,
she does hand a picture of him. She
yeah,
goes to, I think it's to Kimberly, the new premonition girl.
yeah.
There's what happened with Alex. And I thought, you actually take a picture of your friend, but I couldn't, no matter how much I paused it, I couldn't get to see what the photograph was. So it's obviously him lying with a brick.
I can't remember that. Well, I have pulled up some of what the article says, so it's quite
Yeah,
interesting. So I'm gonna read it out a bit. I thought it was very unceremonious just to kill him off with a brick in between
I like
movies.
brick. After everything, I can't expect like dragons or something.
So the police officer's reading this article about the main character from the first movie, and it says, "Falling brick takes life of Flight 180 survivor. Ironically, victim had not left the house in 3 months prior to incident." And then it goes on to say, a local mystery continues to evolve with the discovery last night that another survivor of Flight 180 died under strange circumstances. Alex Browning, 19, was found dead in an alley off Sycamore in Edinburgh, the victim of an apparent freak accident involving a fallen brick. Um, and then later it says, Browning is the last victim in a string of bizarre deaths that have stricken the small community of survivors from the tragic crash of Flight 180. So far, 5 people have died since the crash, in incidents ranging from suicide to what authorities have labelled a gas explosion. Although none of the deaths have been labelled suspicious, the irony that the people who escaped the plane crash would die so soon after has not gone unnoticed. The whirlwind of speculation has even included the notion of a supernatural force at work to eliminate survivors. What do you think of all that?
And I went, you think? Hello? There's coincidences. No coincidence as good as that. But I think it's sort of like a disservice. I just thought when he's Alex was found up an alley with a brick.
Yeah, I'd
Like, if
forgotten that.
all the places you're going to die is up a freaking alley, don't go up the alleys. Are you mad? If nobody watched Batman
Yeah. So
or
what?
Fright Night, there's another one.
Yeah,
You avoid the alleys in Fright Night for sure.
yeah.
It didn't end well.
Did these people not know they're in a horror movie?
Yeah, see, that's why I don't go up alleyways. I used to deliver pizzas,
Yeah.
and there was one section of the town had alleyways, and the sweat was breaking at me every time I had to walk up these alleys. I thought I was going to get jumped by a robber and the pizza stolen and my money stolen and all. Hated it, absolutely hate. But that all comes from watching movies and stuff. It's like alleys and
Makes you
human
paranoid.
nature being what it is. They you we scumbags will use that arena as a sort of hunting ground, shall we say?
Yeah,
So it is sort of real, but at the same time, Alex, you shouldn't have known. Don't go up the alleyway.
yeah. And it also, I love the bit where it says, none of the deaths are considered suspicious. I'm like,
I know.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And it also, doesn't it contradict the first one a little bit, because they found the knife with Alex's fingerprints on it. They found his footprints in Miss Lawton's home.
Yeah.
Um,
Which exploded.
yeah,
In
so,
flame.
yeah. Um, it
You're
must
lucky you
have.
found Mrs. Luton. Never mind anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Um,
here's the other thing about this. I was just thinking when you said that. The coroner would have examined Mrs. Luton's body and discovered the knife wounds.
I was gonna say, surely they would have known that she was stabbed.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they go, oh, she could put up in a gas explosion. No, that's the worst coroner on the planet. Unless it was Tony Todd.
Yeah, it sounds like someone who.
Unless Tony done it.
Yeah, it kind of comes across like the person writing that only had a vague idea of the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so after the police station, and we find out that Clear Rivers is alive, Kimberly decides to visit Clear in a mental facility, and we find out that Clear is there voluntarily. It sounds like I'm
Yeah.
trying to say Claire, and I keep messing it up. Her name
Yeah.
is Clear Rivers.
Yeah.
She's in a mental institution voluntarily so that death can't get at her. What do you think of that idea?
Um, I don't see how it's good. Well, I can see the padded room, but what did you have all the pictures and stuff put up with? Was it
That's
drawing pins or
Yeah, exactly. That's the
was there
thing.
string?
No, there was
Uh,
pins. I think pretty sure there was pins dug into
yeah,
the wall.
and yet just don't you come near me and if you're anything sharp when you take them all off.
Yeah,
I just thought it's. I mean, it's a good concept if it was done right, but I don't think just one there's given the way the national health is in general, even in 1992, even in 2003 when this was made. Um, I don't think anybody could voluntarily live in a mental institution, unless I'm wrong. Maybe you could sign yourself in.
I think
Um,
she signed herself in, and
was it Sam Sheffield?
she was paying for it.
Oh, was she?
I think
What's kind of
so.
money?
Um.
So it's now you're looking at the plot holes. How they didn't discover the knife wounds in
Oh,
the bodies.
there are many there are
Where's she
many.
getting them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
it's like
many
Swiss
issues.
cheese. Swiss cheese. Well, it's sort of a bit. Well, I suppose it's the only place you could go because no matter. I mean, Alex death proved his apartment in the first one. It didn't really work out too well.
Yeah,
So I suppose it's the only place, and it's listen. I know it's easy for me to make fun of it and stuff, but the writing part of me has to look at it. You have to do something new. So if you were Clear Rivers, where would the safest place for you to be? So that you could have a fighting chance against death, and
yeah,
that would be in a padded room with no possessions, no nothing, no outside communication with the world. I suppose it's credit to the writers for at least trying something different.
yeah. They tried, but I don't think they thought it out well enough.
No, not with the
Um,
drawing pins and
and the TV
the
monitor,
whistle.
couldn't Death just make that explode or whatever? It's very
Alex.
unclear. So we know that Death can kind of manipulate the physical world around you
Oh
somewhat,
yeah.
but we don't really know to what extent and to
Well,
what.
let's face it. At this point, if there's anything smoking, electrical device smoking, they all run up and put their faces in it anyway.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I
yeah,
think actually when you're saying there about death physically manipulating, I thought in this one it was very actively manipulating
yeah,
things. Wasn't
yeah.
it? It just seemed a lot more. You said it was like the Invisible Man doing it
It,
rather than
that's
the
exactly it.
ghostly sort of. Yeah,
Whereas in the first one, it's like you could almost believe that these people are just dying in these bizarre
yeah,
accidents.
yeah.
But there's no doubt in this one that yeah, like he's moving stuff about. Like he moves your man's
100%.
hospital bed about, and
Yeah, and I mean it's very.
even the first debt we were talking about, the windows just slamming shut.
Well, that was the orbit. Yeah, the one
Yeah,
had shut. They couldn't get them open.
yeah, and he had to smash
Yeah,
it with a
it's a
chair.
lot. Yeah, so right from the start, death has been a lot more. I can't think of the word proactive.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and ensuring you're not getting out, and even if you do, I'll find another way to get you on the way down, sort of thing.
yeah. I would
But
find it more interesting if the rules were a bit more clear. If we, no pun
yeah,
intended, clear rivers. um, I would have found it more
well,
engaging because you just don't really know what's possible and what's not.
yeah. I mean, I can understand the windows, holding the windows shut, but if he breaks the glass and he gets out like he does, maybe God, not God, Death thought, well, would this guy be desperate enough to smash the window and get out? Maybe it's Death drawing it out. A wee bit that, like, the apartment's on fire, you'd go out any hole in the wall just to escape. So maybe it's Death being a bit more malicious this time round
Trying to make him
and dragging
panic
it
and
out.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've let you keep your hand, but you're about to get a fire escape ladder through the eye,
yeah,
that sort of thing.
yeah. I mean, it is a bit weird because there's so much that happens just to end up with him slipping on food
Yeah,
and thing through the
which was
eye.
his fault. So technically, people, oh, it's his fault. He did that.
Yeah, maybe death actually had nothing to do with that. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's good luck.
that's good. That's a good coincidence. I'll take that.
He's like, I wanted to burn him to death in his apartment, but fuck it,
Yeah, but
ladder in the eye,
that
I'll
worked
take
out.
that. um, what happens next? I'm just looking through my notes. That just shows how much I'm relying on my notes because even though I rewatched it, well, I started it yesterday, finished it today, and
Yeah.
I'm still struggling to remember a lot of bits in it.
Well,
Um,
Kimberly's at that point. Claire has told her what's going on. So and
yes,
Kimberly said to her, "Oh, I had an accident, but I see if some people," and says, "Well, they're already dead. She shouldn't have bothered." And, oh, thanks very much. I'm glad I come now if I waste the diesel.
she
Um,
she's very
so
doom and gloom.
yeah, she's very doing it, but I mean, you can't really blame her.
I mean,
I
she's
think
probably just trying to be honest.
Yeah, it comes up. Well, you might as well be dead if you're hiding in here. I just thought to myself, really, that's so hokey. Where to go? Oh, this is where you ended up. This could be your future if you're the only one that survives it is. So
Yeah,
you could be next door to friggin' clear in the next room because that's the effect it's had. I mean, it's right there in front of her how everybody died,
yeah.
and yet she's still like, "Oh, you're so selfish." Catch a grip. Um, I think that was it after that they went to see Tony Todd in the corner in the mortuary.
I think that's later because I think Clear suggests to go see him. So later on, she will decide to help out
Oh
after all. Yeah,
yes,
she checks herself out of the mental institution and suggests that to go see Tony Todd, and then he
and
gives
yeah,
he gives them a solution. He gives the characters a goal to work towards because he says only new life can beat death, and there's a lot of nonsense in that scene too.
yeah,
But
it's
one thing I wanted to say just about the opening incident I forgot to mention is that um, I do like it a lot. I like the spectacle of it. I like the fact that we see them
mhm.
die in order. But there's a lot of people who could have easily avoided that accident if they just stopped their car, just stop
Yeah,
driving. There's little
yeah.
things like that throughout the movie that all kind of stack up. Um, but yeah, later Clear will decide to help. She'll sign herself out of the mental institution, and she'll suggest going to see Tony Todd's character Bloodworth. And
Mm.
then yeah, he says to them that only new life can defeat death, which is a new little addition to the rule. I don't think he said that before.
No, he didn't. But I think this scene, because it's Evan's body that he's actually working on when they come in.
Yeah,
Um, it's almost gives the impression that I think she says something like, "You know more about this than you let on," and it gives this look, this funny look to the camera.
yeah,
Oh, and it's sort of like, I thought, is he play? He's breaking the fourth wall for sure. I thought, is he? It's sort of like it's feeling like the tone of the rest of the movie. It's almost tongue in cheek to this point.
yeah,
And I know they're trying to expand the mythos. Um, I'm trying to put him as this mysterious, like Guinan from Star Trek,
mm,
the 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 mysterious wizard who knows things that nobody else does. But I mean, it's Tony Todd. You can't fault it. It's always nice to see him in
oh
it.
yeah. He only makes the film
Um,
better.
he does. He really, really does. And funny, after our last podcast, I actually enjoyed that scene much more because yeah, he really does brighten
Yeah,
up that voice.
absolutely.
Um, just everything about him, his thing. It's just class. It's just
Yeah,
class, and that is he or isn't he? Sort of twist on it now.
yeah. Um, the rules in this movie are kind of a little all over the place. And they they can contradict some of the rules we discovered in the first movie. There's one character, I think it's Eugene, who I think it's him. He tries to take his own life with a gun full of bullets, but it
Hmm.
doesn't fire.
Yeah,
And someone says it's not your turn. So the
yeah,
implication is that you can't die out of order. It has to be this person, then this person, and um, that makes a lot of the other scenes make very little sense. Particularly in the first one where Alex takes his life so that death will skip. So he was able to take his life out of order. Um,
yeah.
so that's yeah, the rules are a little all over the place.
But now they've changed it. So as we're saying about every sequel needs to expand
Yeah,
and add something new. So this time around, they're not down in order; they're down backwards in order.
yeah. What did
So
you
the
think of that?
last person, oh, it was dumb. Really, I just thought no. And
Yeah,
then we find out that the cast members of the cast of this movie have all links to the cast from the previous movie.
yeah,
So the first plane explosion and what happened there had just did more than wreck Death's intricate plan. It actually shattered it. So
yeah,
the knock-on effect it's not just one time that we actually discover it's actually a second knock-on effects
Yeah.
later on in the movie
Actually, before
for
we
the
go into
death.
that, I just wanted to point out that in Clear's scene, I forgot to mention this in the padded cell. She says she's talking about the first movie, and she said the survivors died in the exact order they were meant to die in the plane crash, which isn't actually true. Some of them died out of order.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Billy
yeah,
and your man out of One Tree Hill.
yeah,
He was saved. He was saved, and then went to Billy was killed in his place.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Clear herself, I think she didn't.
Aye, because Billy's not that Billy. Alex gave his electrocuted himself to save her, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there's just a
Yeah.
contradiction to the first movie, but
Yeah.
however. But yeah, as you were saying, that the kind of twist in this one is that they were all saved by the fact that the people in the first one had lived and interfered with
Yeah.
an event where they were supposed to die.
So
Um,
there, so for example, the policeman Thomas Burke, who's played by Michael Landis, who actually was Jimmy Olsen
that's where I
in the
knew
New
from.
Adventures of Superman, with Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, who was fired from that role and replaced by a wee cheeky chappy, Jimmy Olsen.
Was that what
And
happened?
yeah, that's what happened. He was fired from it. I'd have been raging like.
Yeah.
But do you want a Dean Cain story? I'm going to throw a Dean Cain story in. I met Dean Cain after my kidney transplant about 7, 8 years ago in Dublin. It's my first time out since I had the transplant. And I had a hoodie on, and a Chewbacca t-shirt on, and we got to meet him and we getting a picture taken with him. And what he did was come around the back of me and pulled my hoodie up and know like the poster with him and Terry Hatcher.
Yeah.
Well, I had feelings I never knew I'd had before. I mean, I swear, there's something about Superman come behind you, pulling open your hoodie. I'm telling you, I haven't recovered yet.
It just brings something up in you.
I just brought something up in me. I thought, I'm really wearing the wrong t-shirt for this, Chewbacca. So I got a friend of mine to Photoshop a Superman t-shirt. So we recreated Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, but Cain and Owen Quinn. There you go. That's my Dean Cain story. He's
Awesome.
awesome. He's awesome, by
Was
the
he
way.
cool in real life?
Yeah, very, very cool. I have to say, one of the best guys I've met in Dublin yet.
I used to love that
Um,
show.
oh, it was awesome. That was me and my wife's show. That was her Superman, so it was kind of cool. And my first trip out, as I said. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's really, really good.
Yeah. So as you said, like Officer Burke. Do you
Was
remember?
supposed to go to him and a fellow were called to a scene of a crime, but he was called to deal with, was it the bus crash?
No, there was a one of the women I think was on the bus that hit your one, and then that interfered with her being somewhere. I think.
I it's one of the other ones was he was called away to deal with that death.
Yeah,
Um,
I
while
think it
his
was
friend went and he was getting in a
Billy
shootout.
Billy Hitchcock. I think was his.
Billy Hitchcock it was. That's right. He says I had to go and scrape up what was left of Billy Hitchcock.
Yeah,
You're right.
we
Yeah.
got.
So if he hadn't been called to Billy's death, he'd have been caught up in the gunfight and also killed along with his partner. So
Yeah,
the deaths of the original cast stopped them getting killed.
yeah,
They
yeah,
were supposed to be getting killed.
yeah.
So in a way, that sort of confused me because I thought, well, then does it really matter if there were survivors of the traffic accident
I don't
because
know,
they were
and
due to die anyway?
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I don't know. And then again, like, why does debt wait so long? Because surely they're interfering with
Yeah,
other people's, all this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
we'll say there's a lot of world building issues.
yeah. There's a lot of logic issues, as Mr. Spock would say.
Yeah,
Say what?
yeah,
Because I was sitting watching it and going, how does that work again?
yeah. Because
So you
you,
saved and you're going backwards and you what? So you didn't need. So what? So I said, no, it was very confusing.
yeah,
I appreciate the fact you're trying to do something different, but it just didn't make sense. Um, if they were supposed to die those nights, the same night as Billy, and the other times as the other ones, then what has this got to do with the logging accident on the motorway? Because
Yeah, so
it,
one of
it just
their
doesn't.
the premonition in the first one ultimately ends up saving the characters in this one, who then were
Uh,
supposed to die in the pile-up, but were saved by another
yeah,
premonition, with
yeah.
which that waited a year later to go about any of this anyway. So
Yeah,
it does become a big mess.
it's yeah, it's then just seeing now that I know what Rob Zombie was talking about, I sort of think did the studios interfere to make it a bit more and that the word difference not even the word to sort of try and I'm like, oh, I know what you should do. This should do this and put this in. And does that come from the heads of the studio who don't really know what they're talking about? To be honest,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
who knows?
it's no.
But I think they had these general ideas, but just didn't think them out
Yeah, it wasn't
enough.
meshed together. Yeah, it wasn't meshed together very well.
Because even like
Um,
so Eugene tried to kill himself, but he can't because it's not his turn. But then
yeah,
Kimberly, just like Alex in the first one, tries to take her life to be resuscitated later on. But so she was able to. I know she was resuscitated, but she still killed herself
yeah.
or
So
thereabouts.
it is. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was confusing. So it was from there on. It was really when they're all together. You sort of go, well, if the apartment explodes, it's going to be the end of the film. So you can be sure somebody's going to walk out. No, I'm not staying here with you lot. I'm going to die. So
Yeah.
when Eugene and the mother of the kid, or the kid that get killed at the dentist,
Oh, that's
that was that was
thank you for reminding
that
me of that.
was
Yeah.
interesting.
So
One, it's because it's a kid.
yes, which you don't see that often.
Yeah, no, no, it's a teenage kid. Like, oh, he's only been like being a teenager for 2 minutes. Um, I thought going to the dentist and it's sort of like that. There's people's fears straight away. Going to the dentist, and then he's left in the chair with his mouth open with
Now
all this gas and stuff, and a
I
fish falls from the fucking ceiling. I what? And I had to rewind. What fell from the ceiling? I thought it was like I didn't know what it was. I had to rewind it back and go, what's a
I
wee fish? A plastic fish?
I don't like that scene at all, and I'll tell you why. Because you have all this build up in the dentist's office. This happens, and this happens, and this happens, and you're like, oh, what's going to get him? What's it all setting up, and all this? But the answer is it's not setting up anything because it has nothing to do with his death anyway. He dies
No.
outside the office because he tries to chase away a bunch of pigeons, which fly off and
Yeah,
cause a crane to drop a big glass thing that crushes him. I mean, it looks pretty cool,
it
but
does.
the whole dentist office thing just felt like a big waste of time.
But then I wonder, see, also another thing that you also get with these movies is you have to go to a certain runtime. So we're talking about padding.
That's
I
it.
think this scene was one of the paddings.
There's a lot of
Um,
padding.
a lot of padding. So yes, but it also got the audience going, oh, what's going to happen here? And they're thinking, how's the pigeon getting into this? But
Yeah,
it's getting the audience sort of on the edge of their seats a wee bit because that's what you're there for. You're going to see how everybody dies
yeah.
and how inventive that can be.
Well, that's it. I
Um,
would have rathered if those elements in the dentist's office did contribute to his death.
Yeah, everybody, nobody in the country would had ever watched that film would ever go back to the dentist
I would have
ever.
liked if they did his death like they did the one in the first movie with the bus, where it was just really sudden. I would have rathered that
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I like that one. As we were saying, the bus kill in the first one is really effective because it
yeah,
is so sudden, and you can imagine just having a lapse in concentration and walking out onto the street. I
yeah,
still think the way that scene's presented is very flawed, but the idea is
yeah.
scary.
It's reality.
So I would have liked if uh, that all just happened really suddenly, and you get this shock as, oh fuck, that kid's just dead.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, he really dies with a plastic fish in their mouth in the dentist. Do you know what I mean? I'm going, newspapers, Owen Quinn died with a plastic fish in his mouth. I'm going, get that out and tell him I was like, died saving children or something, or or choked on false teeth or whatever. I've not down with a plastic fish in the gob. No, thanks very
See,
much.
that's
But,
actually, you've just made me think of something. Maybe death is trying to create the funniest headline.
well, yeah, well, I could well be. But again, that could be them trying to expand death. is he got a cruel sense of humor?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like
I
if
think
you if you read that somebody died with a plastic fish in their mouth, there you go. See, that's how. See, I'd be a good person. I'd be a very well, that's awful sad. But
yeah.
Jamie busting laughing. That just says it all, folks. Really, doesn't it?
Yeah. And yeah,
Then mommy
so
goes up. Oh, do you know what? And then her mother,
yeah.
after the time when Eugene tries to kill himself and doesn't, him and the mother decide to leave. And you sort of know, and as soon as that happens, you go right there next. Who's next?
Yeah.
Um, and then what happens with it? All I could see was some prosthetic arms, and I go, oh why? Blame it disabled. Oh why? Blame us. That's it.
It's all your fault.
That's all my fault. Well, thanks very much.
That's why I
But
don't
yeah, no,
that's why I don't record in the same room with Owen. Too dangerous.
that's, we live very far apart, folks. Very. Put it like this: Ronan Keaton would need a sponsorship card built in for me to get to his house. That's how far away we live.
So yeah,
But yeah, no,
in
I
the
thought it was
end,
very funny.
the resolution to this movie made no sense with Kimberly,
No.
her plan. Um, but yeah, that's this movie in a nutshell. It all starts to fall apart the more you think about it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it really does contradict the first movie quite a bit.
Yeah. It tries to make it better, like build on it, but it
Yeah,
doesn't. It collapses it.
yeah. I
And then
do.
I thought,
Sorry, go on.
sorry, I thought Clear, her death with Eugene was very. I thought she deserved more
Yeah,
rather than that
yeah,
getting blew up along with Eugene.
yeah.
I just thought that was very. At that point, I thought, oh, I could just imagine the writers going right. We've only 20 minutes to fill.
We need to
Many
get rid of her.
characters were left. I would get rid of two there quick. I just thought she deserved a much better exit
Yeah,
or ending
they're like,
than what she got.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, herself and Alex got done dirty.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather go her way than his with a brick. I think she went out. I think she went out in the fireball. He got a brick.
Yeah, and I don't like that headline of he died because a brick fell on his head.
Like a brick fell on his head.
Like, no, thank you.
Well, here it could be worse. Your woman cat. That's the other knock-on effect that I was talking about earlier. With there's actually a third knock-on effect when they're racing to get to the pregnant woman in the white van,
Yeah,
and Cat's driving the car and they crash the car, blah blah blah. All these big pipes. Um, whereas Cat gets. I just thought, you know what? See when Cat died, I didn't mind her up to that point, and then she's in that scene. I thought, you're a real nasty character, so slap it into you. Get a pipe through the back of the head and what do you call them, airbags in the face,
yeah.
trying to light a cigarette.
I
You
liked.
freaking deserve it.
Yeah, I liked that. Dead. I thought that one was cool. Just the airbag, and then
Yeah.
her head goes back and gets impaled.
Yeah, she's such a bitch,
Yeah,
especially the kid. But the kid, as we find out, is going to be important to the end,
yeah,
very end scene.
yeah. It's like
Um,
we think it's all well and good, but then
yeah,
the kid dies
then
in
something
a
happens. He
in a
goes, because
barbecue in a barbecue
yeah,
explosion.
because he should have died there. So I thought, well, now we're squeezing it. There's three bubbles of
Hmm.
cause and effect that it doesn't really mash here because a guy like that, what do you call him? Rory, with the long hair, a bit of a stoner.
Yeah,
And he says the girl, like, if something, when I die here, can you make sure my mum doesn't see my porn magazines because they're still not doing it well.
yeah. I
But
mean,
I liked it. He
it's a.
was so laid back and such a good
Yeah,
character.
I
And then
mean,
for him to go, it was Billy Hitchcock all over again, really, but done better.
yeah. And at least
I
the
thought,
bit with his mom and the porn magazines, it's a little bit of character. It's
yeah.
something.
But I did like his character. I thought I'm glad he stayed in it as long as he did.
Yeah,
But there's character. I think when you do get a character like that, and you do like them, and you sort of have a weak connection with them, you don't want to see them go, even though you know
yeah.
they're going to go, and
Especially
you
in a
don't know
movie,
that works.
especially in a movie like this where there's not much to latch onto.
No, it's all very one dimensional. All very one dimensional.
So what we'll do is we're gonna give it a rating like we did the first one: A, B, C, or D. So A is
Right.
amazing, D is disaster, and then where do you rate it on that scale? And then I forgot to do this with the first one, but we can retroactively do it when we're finished talking about all three movies because I don't think I'm going to watch any more beyond three. um, we'll recap our ratings and then we'll see which one comes out on top. So we'll rate it first in terms of pure quality, and then after that we're going to rate it out of pure entertainment value because sometimes bad movies are really fun to watch and maybe you'd recommend them
Yeah.
for that aspect.
Yeah.
So A, B, C, or D, how do you rate Final Destination 2?
What was B and C? I can't remember.
Well, D is disaster,
C's
A is amazing, so you kind of
B.
judge it yourself. So B is like it's bloody good. C is you could find worse. And
C. Go C then. Yeah, you could find. I think just before you said C, you could find worse. I was sitting thinking, well, at least they tried.
I think
See
they
what I mean?
tried. I think they tried, but they failed badly.
They failed. They tried. God loves a trier. But yeah, see, I mean, yeah, you're right. There's worse out there. It's a good attempt to expand on the original movie, but it just wasn't thought through properly.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like yourself. I think the attempt was there. I appreciate that they did try these things, but I think it
oh yeah.
really falls apart when you start thinking about it too much, even when you don't
Oh
think about it that much.
yeah. But I mean, they didn't expand on it out of love. It was like the studio went, oh, let's make more money. It was all done for money,
Well, who
which
knows?
sort
I
of,
mean, sometimes you get writers who just want to put their stamp on something and they do a bad job.
yeah. But so many have studio interference. So I'm just wondering how much studio interference was or on this one.
I'm gonna give this one a D in terms of pure quality. Yeah. I think the plot's a mess. I think the world building's a mess, and I think it does damage to the first movie. Listen, I know we're not
Right.
here for that kind of thing. We're here just to see deaths, but the quality is what it is, and it's just not very good.
You hate them.
So, but then, okay, we're gonna rate it out of five for entertainment value. So, how many bouncy logs out of five would you rate this for entertainment value?
I would do it two bouncy logs, and I'll tell you why.
Go for it.
Because I'd watched it and then forgot what happened, and then I had to go back and go. And do you know where the cat's bit where she got the airbag on the face? I went, how did she die? What was she doing with a cigarette now? And I had to go back twice in two different parts, I think, three
Yeah.
different parts maybe, and just rewind it. Thank God for the wee button on Netflix. It goes by 10 by 10. So that's awesome. I love it. It's the best thing I ever invented. And
Yeah.
go, oh, that's what happened. And then I had to go back for one of the explanations for Clear River, and I went, oh, right, so that's what they're doing. So it was sort of like, I usually just sail through things, and then if I miss them, I miss them.
Yeah.
But this one, I was sort of like, I have no idea what just happened there, so let me go back.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So my entertainment value stuff, pure fun factor, I would also give it two bouncy logs out of five.
Yeah, two
For,
fancy logs.
for your reason as well. It's just
It's
forgot
not. It's
fucking
not.
half of it.
I know.
I
It's not
mean,
nice to see a solitary log at the end of the day. So you might as well have two.
yeah. um, but you can have a bit of fun laughing at it with a group of people.
Yeah, yeah.
If you
That'd be a
watch,
good drinking game one,
yeah, it's one of those ones where I'd
wouldn't it?
recommend watching with a group. When you're watching it by yourself, it's a bit of a slog.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. See, remember the first time we ever watched these kids, there was no such thing as technology. So there was no internet, no fast forward buttons and things like that.
yeah,
So you had to watch it as it was in the cinema. Um, when it came out in video, sorry, you had fast forward on the video.
yeah,
But yeah, you had to watch it in its entirety as it was in those days. So it could seem longer than it actually was or shorter than it actually was. And if you missed it, you missed it.
yeah. That's it.
So you might think that was amazing, and then you watch it again and go on the video and go, how did I miss that? Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot about that. For those use your remember video, of course, because I use a all get streamers and DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. In my day, it was a cassette which you put into a machine. That was a tape that could always get damaged very quickly because you get caught up in the heads of the machine. You had to go back to the video shop and say, "I'm sorry, your video's broke."
So we'll have to.
Um,
Some of our viewers might not know what the old videotape is, so we'll
no
maybe
video
put a link in the description to what a videotape is.
from 1957.
Yeah, yeah. You had to rewind them and everything. Jesus.
Videos were awesome.
Yeah.
Videos were awesome. I still have some.
We actually have a few in the attic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and
I,
DVDs
I have I have Return of the Jedi
of
cassette, the first home cassette that was brought out.
no way.
And Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the pilot episode, The Emissary, which was the collector's edition. There's a whole lots of goodies with that.
They're gonna be
We
worth.
have,
They're gonna be worth something someday.
guess what we have? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Whoa,
And,
nice.
yeah, but this one was my wife's favorite movie outside of Dirty Dancing, growing up with Snow White. So they brought out a pack with the video, seven figurines of the dwarfs, and the book, the storybook. So it was all put in a big presentation case.
Yeah,
And we still have that one.
that's awesome.
And it's never been played.
We never.
Never,
That's awesome.
never.
We started watching because me and Nicola love Disney stuff, older Disney stuff rather. Um, some of the newer stuff too, but we were watching them in order of when they were released. So we watched Snow White, and then I think it was Pinocchio after that, and we watched a few. But the original Snow White for the very first animated feature, I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, folks, we're talking about the original cartoon, not that crap that brought out in the cinema, which is absolute disgrace.
Have you
Don't
seen
even
it?
get me started. I never watch it. I shall never subject my failing
Well,
old
then
eyes
what is
to
it?
that
What is it you say?
travesty.
What is it you say? If you haven't seen it, you can't judge it.
But and this one can judge it because of all the negative press that loudmouth and fucking Snow White and all that. Oh no, disaster. It's called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not Snow White and the Seven Mythical Beings. For wokey thing. No, forget woke. That is, and you're because you're doing Seven Dwarfs out of a job. That's not a fucking thing I'd give off about.
Yeah, I
But
heard
yeah,
about
no,
that.
it's the original animated classic with Hi Ho. That one. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Do you
That's
know
what I'm
what?
talking about. It's
We should do a
magic.
video down the line comparing the two movies. I think that would be fun.
Uh, we do it on your own. I'll not be doing it.
That sounds
Now,
fun.
if you said to me Beauty and the Beast, oh, that's a different story.
Oh yeah, I love that movie. I think it's great.
Ah, cry every time. That's my favorite. My sister loves it too. She's mad
Brilliant.
on
Oh,
Beauty and the Beast.
it's an incredible movie. I love it.
Yeah.
We're on our way up to that one. I think the last one we watched was Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, well, that was good too. But
Yeah,
funny, the Beauty and the Beast live action with Emma Watson was almost as good as the cartoon. Almost.
I honestly don't
But not
remember.
quite.
Like,
Yeah, we went to see that and thought it was really good.
so
I have to
Owen,
say.
where can everyone find you and your work?
Well, you can't find me in the queue to the cinema for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs 2025 version. That's for sure.
I don't know.
Um,
As someone said, they spotted someone that looks suspiciously like you with their hood up and sunglasses, queuing
how to
up
get
to.
one leg? How to get one leg
It was
and a
hard to
crutch?
say. It was hard to say.
You never know. Could have been a pickaxe.
Someone said something really funny the other day about that movie. It was because it's flopping so bad. They said Snow White and the Seven Viewers.
I don't do what. Did you see all the videos? Well, there's nobody actually in the cinema
Yeah, yeah,
except her and her two mates.
yeah.
Embarrassing.
But anyway,
Um,
about you.
where they can find me? They can find me on the website, which is Time Warriors and Beyond. Loads and loads of great wee articles on all sorts of magic stuff.
I
Uh,
recently read one of Owen's articles on Hatchet, and it really
yeah,
sold me on watching the movie. So go to the website, give these things a
go to the
read. They're really
website.
well put together.
You'll find book excerpts from my books, The Time Warriors and Zombie Blues, the characters, the breakdowns, videos, all sorts of lovely stuff.
Yeah, and you can find both of our books on Amazon. If you search our names, you'll find our stuff.
And you'll find both of our names on my website because I'm put a few Stephen's books up there as well for promotion.
Yeah, because that's just the kind of guy Owen is.
That's the kind of guys we do. Yeah, still waiting on the money, though. But sure, I'm not saying nothing. Be quick. I'll be quick going to see Snow White and Seven Dwarfs.
You can follow me on Instagram at Stephen Carey Stories, and I'm on TikTok as well. Thanks everyone for listening. The next video we're going to do is we are answering some questions that have been sent in, so that should be good fun. Thanks again to Owen for his insight on this movie. It was very valuable and fun. And we
Right
shall
about
see
it.
you again soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye everyone.